Welcome to Eugene Cannabis TV. We have a real special show tonight. We have our friends from Salem, and the first episode we have Sonny on my far right. Sonny on my right, and Perry on the far right. Perry Stripling and Sonny
Watkins.
That's first thing goes. It saves your mind. But welcome, guys. I really appreciate you coming down, and it's good to have you on the show again. We've got a lot to talk about, especially with the legalization. How's legalization going for you, by the way?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not bad. I think we've seen less attention to the medical cannabis than it should be getting, which is not good. In that vacuum, we've had some bad changes happen, and we need to rally the people to correct those things. So. And I don't know, there's a lot of talk about how that would have happened anyway, the last legislative session, that recreational didn't have anything to do with it. But I'm sure it's taken away some of the resources that we might otherwise be seeing if it was just the medical cannabis issue on the table there.
Yeah, and then there's contingencies that want to just put it all together. Well, it's just all marijuana, just all make it together, and we don't need medical, just recreational and all together. And that's been a big fight, trying to keep it separate, because the medical program was really needed by the patients. And it's like my friend Chris Stillwell says. He says, legalization is nothing like I thought it'd be like. That's pretty well. So how's it going in Salem, and how's the Mercy Centers doing? What are you up to now?
Well, the Mercy Center continues its mission. We don't have our brick and mortar building anymore, so we're a virtual organization. Mm-hmm. Folks can find us online at mercycenters.org. And when you're there, you can find out that we're going through, we're still making a lot of contacts. We still got folks communicating with us about a number of issues, getting their card, finding a doctor, where to get some medicine now, how to grow your own, and then best methods on preparation. We've been talking a lot about the cannabis oil, how to make that, and alternatives to that, like the cannabis butter, and the back to basics, how to make cannabis teas. Some of the more simple, basic, safe, organic methods to do this extraction process is involved. And we're getting contacts from all over the world, and I think that's a very neat thing, that with our international flavor that we're seeing to folks, and the commonality between us, us and them and each other. We got some contacts the other day. One was from somebody in Bosnia-Herzegovina, and another one from somebody in Serbia, both wanting to start up their own cannabis resources. Wow. And I thought how neat it would be to get them together, wow. Working, across their lines of, wow. How that can be a real factor to, bringing folks together, especially wow. Time we need it, I tell you. Right?
Yeah, and it's an amazing plan, and I keep learning more and more all the time. Our second segment, Peke is going to tell us a lot about what he's been working with, and some of the oil stuff that might even be able to help me. I've been having some health problems lately, and so it's going to be interesting to actually get some benefit from the thing I've been working on for so long for everybody else. So
excellent, yeah. So, well, we hope it should be.
Sure, and it looks good, because it's amazing the stories that people talk about. And the bad thing is, of course, our opponents, they say, well, it's anecdotal. And I always say anecdotal to me is just like a nice way of saying, well, it could be all in your mind. And the patients I work with and have worked with, I challenge you to tell them it may be all in your mind. It may be patients, you'll be able to stand back and get your ass whooped,
Right.
Well, they believe it, and because they're living it,
Actually. And, it's they can't do, it's getting hard to make that claim when we've got so much video evidence of these downright miraculous results, right. Particularly to the most vulnerable, this series of children that have been, helped by this cannabis as medicine, which has spurred a rash of CBD-only oil cannabis laws sweeping across there. I think, we've got about 15 states now with that, all through the South, Alabama, Georgia, other states with it. So, you know, all told, there's some form of medical cannabis law in a majority of the states here in the U.S. So you would think that would be a precursor to the whole wall tumbling down, but it's not. It's almost like some things have been are entrenching, you know. There's talk about getting rid of the medical cannabis law here in Oregon, and I think that would be wrong, you know. Folks ask about different things. It's a different modality for folks using it medicinally, and for those who are seeking, you know, the other uses for it, which are valid, you know, the recreational or just plain relaxing, or which is, you know, shading the medical use there. But then the spirituality and the creativity, you know, Carl Sagan's use of it for his, you know, making things up, you know.
Yeah, especially you mentioned creativity. You know, you've known that musicians have been smoking herb for years. Well, there's an example right there. Obviously, it seems to help the creativity because musicians speak for themselves. Yeah.
Right, yeah. I don't think it'd get any more creative than jazz and so forth.
Well, all the musicians use it. We all know they all use it, and it's no secret. And you know, you guys, one thing that's really got me is that we, as our society, we've allowed that the medicine, the cannabis, which is good for us, look what we're letting it get away from us. And it's for us. This is the plant that is for us. You know, nobody, it's for us. This is the thing that all of us should have. We should all be teaching our neighbors and our brothers and our sisters and everybody how to grow it, what to do with it, how to cook it, how to break it down into these oils and do all of these things. I mean, these are the things that are so important.
Oh yeah, and especially you, Sonny, should know. You work with many patients with all different kinds of ailments, and I know you make some edibles. But what all do you make for the patients?
Well,
you work with tinctures and all that stuff,
and the tinctures also out of the glycerins.
Oh, okay.
You know, glycerin rather than the alcohol.
Right.
Like for me, I have seizures, and the medicine, you can't take alcohol with medicine. Alcohol, medicine don't mix. So you have to use glycerin, right? You have to go a different route. Whatever it takes, we can find it, because the cannabis can make good for us, you know, and we can do it, you guys. We have lots of, there's lots of information out there for us.
Exactly. Oh yeah, exactly. You bet. Well, I know for a number of years that you've really been helping a lot of patients with your crop, with your growing, and that's fantastic. And that's what we need to keep going and keep it going. And of course, in an organization like you both are, the Mercy Centers. I'm going to say centers with the S.
Well, I suppose you could say plural. I mean, we have folks contacting us all the time, and we try to inspire them to organize and get the law passed in states where they don't have it yet, and to maximize it in states where they do. We're getting more and more to have some states consider some form of reciprocity, for example, and generally building up a network, and where necessary, hoping to get people to take some action here, whether it's you know, serving on jury duty. We've had some good cases of jury nullification there, or some direct action of supporting people that go to trial and so forth, or helping the underground, you know, telling folks how the things we went through before legalization, how we used to have a network of folks that would make contact, they'd hear about somebody was sick, needing medicine, the word would get around, and you know, these clandestine deliveries by folks risking everything to do so, you know, rest and ruin their lives and not take their jobs away and all that, just for trying to get some medicine to folks, you know. And but in that, we built up that movement that has as to where we are today, and I'd hate to see that all backed off, you know, because prohibition, you know, rearing its ugly head and pushing back. So hope folks out there will register, vote, and get everybody they know to do so also, because that is how we got this law passed and how we've brought it forward to this time here today, time to point.
Exactly, and when Measure 91 passed, several people said to me, well, what are you going to do now? It's over. You won. Well, what are you going to do now? And I say, well, that was a big battle, and we won big. But that was a battle. The war still goes on.
Absolutely.
We still have to keep fighting for our right to use, and like I say, there's still penalties involved, so it's not legal, it's not free.
No, you know, and the same people are still there, you know, deciding what's allowed and what's not. You know, the same old reefer madness rules. These posters about warning pregnant women and so forth. You know, it's,
that is so wrong.
There was in the last legislative session, there was a bill that had a clause about not allowing hemp within 1,000 feet of a school. You know, it's nonsensical. That there's no nothing other than the same old reefer madness backing to that, and so it's the sign. These are just a couple of the things that we need to change there.
I like the term canna-bigotry.
Yeah, exactly.
We have canna-bigotry, and we have to keep fighting against that. Yeah, it's a I always like, you know, it's a plant. It's a plant. So why, you know,
there should be this part of the thing. So the problem isn't really, you know, getting that information out as much as, but when we've been doing that, and that's how we are here. But it's this war. You know, we got to end that war. So knock that down, make that stop, and all these things will happen and be possible. You know, instead of the war, instead of prohibition, getting us to fight amongst ourselves, to have the hemp people at war with the medical and recreational, because we don't want the pollen to, you know, ruin our THC levels. And if I make a quick note on that, you know, there's not going to be that much cannabis in the air. I mean, there's a lot of feral out there, a lot of people growing outdoors, they're growing hermaphrodite, so there's a lot. And so even if they were all to happen, I don't see that being a big difference. But whatever it is would be worth it to end prohibition, because that would mean the end of prohibition, and the benefits from that would more than make up for that, for one. But then there's also a war, if you will, a divide being generated, again, by the same interests between recreational and medical, using the amount that they're paid for. Taxes is one of the wedges there in that. So,
oh yeah.
You know, while there's a difference, and I hope the law stays in place, the thing is just get rid of prohibition. You know, we don't have these fines, these regulations, all this other nonsense paying for it. So.
You bet. And if you want to join the fight, send me an email, dankbagman@hotmail.com, and I'll point you to where you need to be. We've got some great people locally. We have great people in Salem. We've got a lot of people all over the state that are still believing in medical marijuana and the whole gambit. So we're going to wrap this first segment up, and I really appreciate you guys coming in. We decided we'd both dress up, and I wore my tie too, my tux. So
it's really easy on, easy off tux there.
Yeah, you bet.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, a lot of fun with it. So anyway, so appreciate you. Like I say, appreciate you coming down, and don't be a stranger. And yet I've never been up to your facility and your show. So
we'll get you.
At some point, I gotta get up there. So stand by for the second segment. We'll be right.
Do you suffer from fear of losing your election? Are you terrified that voters will discover you've done nothing to improve their lives? Maybe it's time you talk to your spin doctor about Incarcerex. In clinical trials, Incarcerex has been shown effective at reducing election-related anxieties by making voters think you're doing something about the drug problem. It's simplistic and fast-acting. If your problems continue or get worse, you can always double or triple your dose of Incarcerex. Whether it's addiction, therapeutic use, or just casual use, there's an Incarcerex plan for every American. Best of all, taxpayers, not you, will foot the bill. So talk to your spin doctor about Incarcerex today. Common side effects include loss of civil liberties, police corruption, racial injustice, increased terrorism, spread of HIV and AIDS, and violent crime. Bloated prisons are also a common side effect. Stop taking Incarcerex if bloating lasts longer than 20 years. If you're trying to balance the budget, keep families together, or protect human rights, Incarcerex may not be right for you. Do not mix Incarcerex with the Constitution or common sense. So start taking Incarcerex and keep pretending you're doing something about the drug problem.
Welcome to the second half of the Eugene Cannabis TV show, and we've got some special guests from Salem. We have Sonny with the Mercy Center, and we got PK. PK is with Mercy Centers and doing all kinds of stuff. So
yes, I've been going to these hearings up in Portland.
Good.
Okay, last year the legislators passed House Bill 3400, and that's regulating what the different dispensaries can do in that, and the taxes. So you can go to our website and see these different meetings that are filmed. If you know look under the 3400 bill that was passed, and you can have more of an idea. They're changing it's all in a draft right now, and they're just changing words in the section.
Yeah, it's HB 3400, I think.
Right.
Yeah, and they're being free-handed about it, and some of the things that are going on are quite upsetting, actually. So like in the very beginning, I made a little sign that said, "Oregon legislature, keep your prejudice, biased hands off our marijuana laws."
Right.
But of course they don't listen. But they got their own mind made up on what needs to be done, and it's just it's really irritating and maddening, of course. But by the way, one thing I should mention that both Sonny and PK are medical marijuana patients. Both are suffering from head injury. PK has had quite a battle himself because there was, I think, several times you got pulled over and they accused you of being drunk.
Yes.
And boy, that was a battle. And he was exonerated because
the same officer in Independence pulled me over the first time with the testimony of Dr. Lebec had a great influence.
excellent.
Right.
Wow.
When he was testified the second time, he was going through the medical board, and the district attorney really accused him really badly. So
That's disgusting. That's Dr. Levesque.
Phil Lebec.
Huh?
Phil.
Phil, yeah, I want to say, Phil, thank you. Philip Levesque passed away recently. Dr. Levesque was a hero before even the marijuana thing came around. He was a World War II veteran. He was at the Battle of the Bulge, and had quite a tale.
He served with Patton and with my uncle.
Wow, yeah. Heck of a man. And then he was a big advocate of medical marijuana, which cost him his licenses, and because of the prejudices against it, did nothing wrong, and yet he got railroaded. It's just a disgusting thing that happened. But he remains our true hero, one of the true heroes of the whole movement, and you can imagine the frustration of PK to be accused of being drunk, and then having to fight for the truth. But that's just the reality of the prejudices and where we're at. The can of bigotry is what I like to keep talking about.
Well, and that's the importance, to keep everybody out there to know that cannabis is medicine.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that, don't let nobody get away from the fact that the plant is healthy for us.
All right. That's right.
And
So tell us what you have there, PK. What do you got? What you bring in?
Over 10 years ago, I started a mash with olive oil. From the harvest, I would put the flower into the bucket. Because it's a cold mash, it took 28 days to have the cannabis go into the oil. I added onion and garlic to it because I know those are good herbs, and because you can use this as a salad dressing as well.
Is it what?
Salad.
Oh, salad dressing. Oh, yeah. Okay. You bet. Just, yeah, there you go. Yeah. Excellent. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's just it. It can be used so many ways. It can be used to eat. You can use topically as a. It's just amazing. It's just mind-boggling what uses it has and what it's helped and how it's helped people. And again, in a little bit of education, just like PK, make your own. That's the beauty of it. You can make your own.
And it was a tester offered to test the oil for us.
Right.
When we got the results back, because mine's a cold method, the THC value was very, very low. Everything was really low because it was a cold method. But I've seen results on skin. I use it for my carpal tunnel.
So we know it works.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of patients come back and request specifically these oils, you know.
And you can use coconut oil and you can use grapeseed oil, but they have all different properties than olive oil.
Okay. Yeah. Wow, that's fantastic. It's just amazing, and it looks like, that's that's just I want to say it's amazing. This is mind-boggling.
Well, after the show, I would like you to rub some on your feet, and you can see the results.
Okay. You bet. Yeah, I have a circulation problem in my feet, which is caused by my body's creating too much platins, and that's what's caused the circulation problem. And so, I'm definitely anxious to try a topical cannabis tincture type of thing, because right now I'm under some fairly heavy prescription drugs, and I don't know that they're going to work. The last round that I had didn't, and so I'm hoping this one will, but we don't know. But definitely need to be looking into the healing cannabis properties. And the thing is, I've been an advocate for so long, and now it seems now it's kind of things have changed, and now I actually the one needing it. So now I'll be able to speak more personally about how it does and what
Well, when I was incarcerated at the Polk County Police prison, I came down with a testicle cancer, which I went to the doctors, and they released me early from the 60 days that I was sentenced. The doctor took off the wrong testicle.
Jeez. Oh my God. 6
months later, the pain came back. From my girlfriend doing an examination, we found it was the fallopian tube where the sperm would travel that had the cancer. So I went up to the university. They removed that. 6 months later, still is in extreme pain. That's like being kicked in the balls by a mule.
Oh boy. Wow.
Cannabis helped me, and I would like you to see.
No, definitely, you bet. Yeah, that's and then of course, like I see you talked earlier, that our opponents say that it's all in our minds. It's anecdotal, but we're living it, so.
A figment of our imagination. That's what the one doctor told me.
Wow.
And it's attainable for somebody to make this in their kitchen. They can grow it in their yard. and they don't have to have no tests, and it'll be just fine.
Yeah, it'll be organic because you did it yourself and you let nature do it.
Oh yeah, yeah, you bet. Yep, you bet. That's amazing. So if you need more information, it's all over the internet. Go to mercycenters.org and you get information there. You can send an email to me directly at DanK, D-A-N-K, Bagman, DanKBagman at hotmail.com. And we'll definitely connect you up and get you on the right road if you're interested in looking into that. I wanted to run real before I forget. This is a local announcement here from a good friend of ours. The lawmakers are going to be in session this coming February, and now is the time to share the views on separate systems and ending prohibition. We're going to have some events coming up early next year, and local activists and local advocates and activists have items in motion. So again, contact DanK Bagman at hotmail.com. We've got some excellent people that are working on issues that they're not even talking about in Salem. They're talking about issues that our supposed colleagues aren't even talking about, and so it's really some disgusting things going on, and so we're trying to get them turned around and get them corrected so we could use some help, local help.
Right.
And same thing in Salem, contact mercycenter.org. And I really appreciate you guys coming on the show tonight and come all the way down from Salem, and we'll look forward to some more get-togethers and more education.
Thanks a lot,
Yes.
Dan.
You bet.
And have fun and go and fly a kite.
There you go. Oh yeah, definitely. I'm a big kite flyer myself. You bet, especially the two controlled. Anyway, thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.